Yeah, we monitor lightning sprites around the state of New Mexico. They're pretty much just trying to understand why lightning does what it does, and if they can ever harness it one day, which is pretty much impossible at the moment.
Understand, Jesse. And they in that building right there?
So we have phantom cameras in there that they record, how do you say, super slow motion. So we can see every part of the lightning bolt as it comes down. And my boss, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Twister.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, they had that little barrel filled up with those little silver pieces.
Yeah.
Well, my boss is actually the one who invented the first one for a lightning bolt. So we have systems that are deployed all over this entire area. They go down to Las Cruces, they go up to Albuquerque. We have some down here in the Pound Ranches. We have some down at Cat Mountain. We have some all over the place, up in these mountains back here, you know. And what they do is they work as a team, kind of like how the interferometer works. But as soon as a lightning bolt hits, every station takes kind of like a 3D image of it, and it just builds us a model of it, so we can see what it looks like. And it just helps them study it more and more and more. You know what I mean? My boss is actually one of the guys that's responsible for planes having the ability to get hit by lightning bolts in the sky and stay up in the air without anything happening to them. You know, so
wow.
he does quite a bit of work on this stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's
coral.
That's a dream job.
Strawberries there, Paul Bear Peak, and then mountain to
Right.
He is way back there.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Did you say you guys monitor Amarillo too?
Yeah, we had a team that was just monitoring Amarillo, and they got some pretty good stuff on it. So we have people coming from Cambridge, from London, you know.
From London?
Yeah. They also flew some airplanes up here. They were just flying around, and they would fly into the clouds, and then they release, they're called radio sounds. They're just like tubes with they're just like electronic boards that measure the weather, you know, how hot it is or how cold, if it's raining, if it's hailing, anything like that. And pretty much most of it is just all the information. We give it to the government, and they give it to weather apps, you know, radio stations, things like that.
Understood.
Yeah. So.
What is the observatory you see from Magdalena?
The 2.4?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's the one that just monitors. I believe what I've heard is what they use it for is they use it to check out like damage on crafts that we have in space. You know what I mean? This thing could see a fly on a cup all the way to score if you wanted. You know,
seriously?
Yeah. And it's a high-speed camera. So it's actually the twin of the Hubble telescope. It was the first Hubble built as a prototype. And then after they pretty much got all the aspects of it going right and everything, they just had it inside of this old warehouse for years and years. And somehow one of the guys that worked for us said, we'll take it. So they retrofitted it into a telescope, and now that's what they use.
Incredible, Jesse.
So it's pretty much the Hubble telescope, but just not named Hubble. So yeah, there's a whole slew of activities that go on up here.
Isn't that funny? When you're down there and you don't know nothing, you just see a blip on the top of a mountain.
Yeah. Oh, I was the same way, and I couldn't believe it. I guess that's why it's so intriguing for me, because here we're doing black holes and we're doing dark matter. There they're doing government work. Here we're trying to figure out why the lightning does what it does.
So not just one thing, different.
So it's always different. Every day we come up here, there's always something to do, something to fix. You know, it's very interesting. And I don't just do this, like pretty much we don't have janitors. We'll do it all ourselves. So we'll clean up here, and then I pretty much fix anything that needs fixing. If we have gear that needs to go out for the lightning stuff, they'll send me out to do that as well. And then I run heavy equipment over here for MRO whenever they need it. We also do HVAC.
Very good.
Yeah, so we do quite a bit of
Yeah,
stuff.
I was like, wow, they have a grader.
Is that Montosa?
I'm not too sure, honestly, what the mountains are way back there. I'm still trying to consider it myself.
Cat is over here, right?
Cat Mountain, yeah, is just down off the road, yeah.
Nice breeze.
Yeah. We go somebody cameras that they use to detect the lightning and slow it down and everything.
Oh,
Some of what, yeah, that's some of what they're doing now. Just watch your step with these.
Yes, sir. They're monitoring lightning.
Yeah. So we got a storm coming up over us on all sides. So every time they come up, there's usually a storm after.
Do they come up and go back home at the end of the day?
Yes. And then in here, this is just one of the really old workshops. where we
Wow.
used to work. This is actually a project out of Argentina. They pretty much do the same, but they wanted to see how hardcore the lightning was in Texas. So Argentina, we helped them build a platform and some high-speed cameras, and they got infrared that points straight to Amarillo. So they specifically monitor there because back in the day, I think between like the 70s and the 80s, we had a guy here who was actually responsible for saving Texas's crop because they had a problem with their hail. It was huge, and it just kept breaking their stalks, and they didn't know what to do.
Right.
Well, one of the guys that worked for us, he actually invented something. I think it was like an aluminum something that they shot into the sky, and it was weather manipulation basically. You know, when people see or hear anything weather manipulation, they think we're flooding stuff, but that wasn't the case. He just was the first guy to find out that they shot aluminum into it. It can drastically reduce the size of the hail, and he pretty much saved people from losing all their crops, their livelihood. So a lot of the stuff that they do is pretty much just to help people out, you know, and people think, oh, we're up here doing crazy things, but it's not like that. It's not as fun as they think it would be. The computer side of it, this used to be a lot of the stuff that they used for the computers, but now all of this is reduced to this.
Wow, Jesse.
Yeah. So this is old technology, new technology. Pretty much this runs all the internet for the entire site. In here was just like, this is old stuff from the Air Force, you know what I mean, cabinets. They had a lot of, how do you say, confidential stuff in here.
Yes, sir.
But when I open it up, there's nothing in there.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing good, huh?
They took it all. This
Oh,
is
and a
actually
pencil
pretty cool.
sharpener.
This is called a sound scriber, I guess. This is how they used to record their data, like their voices, because before cassette tape, maybe, I don't know. So they would put a wax record on here, and then they would pull this out, and they would talk whatever they needed to, and they would turn it on, and the needle would drop on it, and it would just start recording everything they would say, and they would keep it for records or anything like that, which is
Amazing,
pretty wild.
Jesse.
So we have like a lot of their old stuff just lying around, you know what I mean? But this is one of the machines I was talking about. These machines, I believe, were the last pieces of machines that were used. They were actually pieces of machines used to help build the atomic bombs, I believe, the Manhattan Project, the guys who were starting to split the atoms.
Yes, sir. Wow.
So these were the last
There's a
pieces
lot of history here, huh?
Yes. Yeah, so a lot of it was like how these guys would build their conductor boards, you know, all the LMA stuff that they would use. We have,
Wow, look at all
we
this.
have old pieces like, you know, this had like every kind of part you could think of. Pretty much, if you know how to build FM radios or anything like that, there's everything here to build one. You can build your own radio service up here if you wanted to. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Yeah. And then here we just got more old parts, resistors, stuff like that. We got old oscillators. This is how they would get data from the lightning at first. Like if you see like in old movies how they have those machines that have waves, this is one.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So it's just an oscillator, a wave oscillator. Same thing. Yeah, this is an old, it actually is reading current, I think, right now. There's a lot of stuff that's just old up here.
Wow.
It still works perfect, you know, it's just ancient. This is pretty much another work area that they had and they left. This is where they used to build their rocket systems. This is pretty much a rocket, but without the cover. So they would send these into the sky and they would have coils on them. And these coils would have the copper strings.
Right.
And what they would do is they would shoot it up into the sky. Back in the 70s, we didn't have the technology that we had now. So they used to have to roll around in a truck. And if you're leaving the site and you look at that 2.4, you'll see a truck with camouflage on it.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the first trucks. So they would have to chase the storm around, set up all their stuff, and pretty much cross their fingers and hope for a lightning strike.
Wow, Jesse.
Which usually wouldn't happen. And then sometime after, they developed this system and they started building these rockets here. So these rockets would carry the copper up into the atmosphere. and they had plates on them, and as soon as it would hit, it would just float up there for a minute. And what would happen was the lightning sprites that were 4 or 5 miles away, they would start arcing towards us, and they would start tapping the plates on the rocket. And
Wow.
they would start shooting the electricity down to us, and then we would get a reading of
Wow,
the current and
Jesse.
how powerful it was. So they're still doing quite a bit of this now, and this is pretty much the old stuff. The new stuff is way cooler, but we thought about getting rid of a lot of it. But I thought it was cool just to have to show people,
Absolutely.
what they
It's
used to do
history.
and how they used
Yeah.
to do it. Yeah. So it's yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff still, man. And chassis mount adapters, lightning bulbs.
Wow.
If I found a box, man, that said Roswell on it, I was so fucking excited, man, because I don't believe in aliens or nothing like that. But I was just like,
Yeah.
let's see what they have. So I opened it up. There wasn't nothing of interest in there. Pretty much.
But still, huh?
These guys are pretty smart, man. I mean, they took everything that they
Oh
thought.
yeah, they're not gonna leave shit just laying around, even if there was
I
something.
pretty much found the confidential folders of what they were doing, but there's not really anything saying exactly too much about what
Yeah,
exactly.
they're not. Old tube TVs. That's it.
Again.
Yeah, so we had rockets that we were launching up into the sky, but they were being so cheap that they didn't want to order the stands, that the rockets would sit on. So they went as cheap as possible, and we got these, and they just retrofitted them to hold the rocket and everything, and we actually put the stuff in there. They'll put the rocket in it, and we'll launch it from
Huge
a
bottle
tower.
rocket to.
Out of a mailbox.
Yeah. So, I mean, the ingenuity of these guys is unparalleled. They come up with some pretty good things.
They're like, you got mail. Dare you to open it.
So a lot of them, you'll see them everywhere with these connections. They all launch rockets up at some point in time.
Look at that,
Yeah.
buddy.
So this was still operational up until about 5 or 6 years ago, I believe, and then they just quit out on us. No more. We tried to get it running last year, but
It's not even a diesel, huh?
nope.
Can you imagine going downhill in this?
Yeah, right.
I had to drive up here for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Langmuir, we'll drive the water up here, a water truck, and pump it inside, and then from there, we use a sump pump it all the way up to Langmuir.
Pressure tank for pressure.
Yeah, it's when I
You
first
guys
got
don't
here.
heat it?
Nope.
Nobody needs to.
I guess my boss said it's not that luxurious. He was like, so they can take shower. We have showers here. They actually have we call it the Hilton, but it's like a 3 cabin over there.
Yeah,
We actually have people staying in there right now, but those ones are pretty fucking nice. And then we have about space for about 15 to 25 people that can live here. I'll see videos about skinwalkers and things like that, and then staying up here at night, and you're like, fuck, it's fucking different experience.
Yes, sir.
What's that? Man, you should see when the lightning's hitting all around.
Oh, brother, I wish.
It's really different.